is there a difference between holding the gun versus pointing the gun?
So, I mean, with the firearm in particular, we see that charged differently all the time. So, and that's something actually police want to know about. And when I get emergency hotline calls and someone has said they've had to take their pistol out of their holster, one of my first questions is, where was it pointed? Because when we're putting together that self-defense statement for police, if it was pointed in a safe direction but simply in your hand, that's something I want law enforcement to know. Because it does make a difference for law enforcement in terms of whether or not you'll be charged and what you'll be charged with. So pointed at the ground versus pointed at the person, big difference. I've even had differences in, client interactions where, let's say someone's doing something at your driver's side window, pointed at the person versus, at sort of a low ready. It does make a difference in ultimately what you're charged with, not because of a definition of brandishing, but because of, what was that minimum level of force that you were supposed to use. And a lot of times there's a big difference between having a pistol in your hand pointed at the ground versus in your hand pointed at a person. Same goes really for any deadly weapon, I think.
Yeah, one of my, I had a client who that's what the case hinged on. What direction did he point his handgun? Mm-hmm. And he was in his vehicle. He's parked at a gas station, and this group of people said, hey, this guy pointed a gun at all of us. And that's the information that the cops received on scene. That's the information that was conveyed to the district attorney's office, and he was charged, dragged through the system. And it took a while, but once we found out, hey, this giant mob of people who were so scared that they all stood around his vehicle, camera recording him. Once we got our hands on their videos, it showed, he had it in a low ready, pointed down across his body, and it never left the threshold or never went up, above window level inside of the vehicle. And that ended up causing his case to get dismissed as soon as we got those videos. But obviously compounded with the fact that these people clearly weren't scared of the way he was behaving.
I remember that case, too. There was a lot to that one.
Yeah, yes. But the low ready in that case made a difference. And so, yeah.
Okay, so a lot of folks think, I've just done the least, the most minimal act that I can. Put my gun away, the other guy goes away, nothing has happened. What do you guys recommend after an incident like that?
You call your attorney because they need to advise you right away. You need to speak to an attorney.
And don't wait 30 minutes to call your attorney, because there are, if it's something we want you to report to law enforcement, we want you to report it quickly.
Right.
Because just generally speaking, right, you've got two parties to an incident. The first one who dings up on that 911 call is the victim. And that's going to be the assumption that law enforcement uses going forward 99% of the time.
Right.
So, and there are times where, and we want you, if you're a LawShield member, like that emergency hotline is your best bet to get to, one of, your attorney very quickly, because, we want to be able to tell you either don't call that in. You may have, you may think that you used the least amount of force you could, but that was not legal. Don't call it in and don't say a word if approached. Or we might want to say, absolutely, you need to call that in, but we want you to ding up as the victim before the bad guy calls with a different story. Hang up with me right now. Call it in right now. So.